Well, good morning and welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder, and this is BRN AM for Wednesday, June 24th, 2020. And our top story today, building and restarting your business after COVID-19. And joining me now to discuss this and more, Brian White is a certified EOS implementer with Whitestone Solutions. Brian, welcome to the program this morning. Thanks for joining us. Joining me now to discuss this and a lot more is Brian White. He is a certified EOS implementer, and he's also the owner of GrowWithTraction.com. Brian, thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Jeff, thanks so much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's great to talk with you. And, I want to jump right in because what you do in terms of consulting and helping small business is really important. And it was really important before COVID. And I think it's even more important post-COVID. So let's talk about this world that we're living in now. So many small businesses challenged from a cash and revenue perspective. They were, obviously small business is a really tough part of work, right? It's very difficult to begin a small business, get it to grow, get your employees on the same page with management. How are you seeing clients react in this COVID world that we're all living in?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jeff. I mean, to be honest, it's the landscape for me. I'm working with somewhere around 30 different businesses, very different industries. And so I'm seeing some that are absolutely thriving right now, despite the pandemic, and then some that have just been decimated, and anywhere in between. And so obviously, cash is a significant challenge for those that are struggling. The general uncertainty about what's to come is kind of self-perpetuating a lack of spending, which is lack of revenue for another small business somewhere else. And so, yeah, I think it's been really, really challenging for a small business that did not come into this kind of with the storehouse of enough cash to PPP loan or not. They're worried. They're worried about what's happening. So,
and rightfully so. I mean, it is just a very difficult time for so many Americans, not only small businesses but individual Americans. Brian, when you and I spoke offline, we had talked about the importance of management aligning itself, right, and being apart on the same direction. Is that even more important in a COVID environment where people are now working remotely? Many of us are not seeing each other physically. We're not within 6 feet of each other. We're seeing each other like you and I are speaking through a Skype or Zoom call. How much more challenging is it in today's environment for all of management to align themselves?
Yeah, another great question. I would even say leadership needs to be aligned, not even just the management of the organization. It's one of the principal things that I do. I actually would not consider myself a consultant, and this is why this question is great for that, because I don't tell them where to go or what to do. I've got to get them aligned with where they want to go and how they want to do it. And what I have found is the businesses that have done that work prior to the pandemic, the crisis, whatever you want to call it, they've come in and they've really been able to solidify as a leadership team who they are, where they're going, and how they're going to get there. Even in the midst of the chaos and the uncertainty, that alignment of having a core group of leaders who can really ground themselves, right, in the who they are. They use their core values to make decisions about, do we stay open? Do we not stay open? Who do we keep? Who don't we keep? Who is our customer? Who isn't our customer? Do we pivot and start making hand sanitizer? Do we not? All of those things require an aligned leadership team who's really confident in who they are as an organization. And then the other thing is the team needs to be aligned with where we're going. I heard it said recently, a business guru talked about that there seems to be a 10-year business cycle. And in every 10 years, you're going to get a really great year. You're going to get a really crappy year. And then the rest of them are going to be somewhere in between. And we've really got to learn how to take advantage of the great year, how to protect ourselves against the bad year, and just enjoy the ride in between. And obviously, this was the bad year, hopefully. And hopefully it's only going to be one.
Yeah.
But the businesses that realize there is a long-term vision and that this will just be a blip. I know it's painful in the moment, but if you go back to the Great Recession, 08, 09, it was painful in the moment, but we look at it as just kind of a bullet point in the timeline of the last 10 years or so. And so if they can remember where they're going, I really think they're gonna be able to kind of logically ride out the storm as opposed to emotionally start to make decisions. And then the third thing that alignment does, again, is how are they going to get there by having even the simplest framework for some kind of strategy or planning. It allows them to adjust, right? They had a plan for 2020. The plan is no longer valid. I'll give you a story. I've got a camp and retreat center. Can you imagine? It's all hospitality, and they've just canceled all of their summer camps for the year. They're planning on operating at about 30% of their revenue. But they had a plan. They had a plan for the year, and amazingly, what they've been able to do is shift and adapt that plan to the lower revenue number. So things like they wanted to make sure that everyone in the organization was the right person in the right seat. Now, unfortunately, they got a lot fewer seats than they had started the year with, but they have been able to take advantage of that. I've got another client that had a plan of hiring a superstar sales leader. And imagine this, it's a bath, kitchen, and tile company. All of the showrooms are closed, but they decided to invest when this gal became available on the labor market, and they just pulled the trigger because they had a plan for the year. And they knew they needed this really, really great rock star of a salesperson. So even though they're not selling anything, they spend the money and they hire the salesperson because they had a plan. So anyway, I'm talking your ear off, but it was a great question. Absolutely, the leadership team's got to be aligned. They've got to know who they are. They've got to know where they're going, and they have to have an idea of how they're going to get there.
And I like that, I apologize for calling you a consultant because I think it doesn't. I think more what I'm hearing is you are a facilitator. So when you get in the room with your client, or maybe you're not even in the room right now, maybe you're Zooming or Skyping or Microsoft Teams, or I don't want to leave anybody out, but you're doing that, you're facilitating, and you're actually helping pull out. And that almost, you have to play the role of almost a business person, psychologist. I mean, you've got a lot of people may just have a different perspective, different point of view, and you've got to kind of help them almost work through that, like almost like a counselor.
Yeah, we've had some therapy, I would say, in some recent sessions with clients. One of the questions that I have been asking every time I meet with a team, I ask them to check in with me. And I'm kind of looking for a few things, like give me some good news, things that are happening in your personal world and in business. Give me some updates, what's working and not working in the business. And I've added another question because of COVID that I've never asked before. And it's just this: how do you feel? How do you feel coming in this morning? And I've had, responses range from excitement to absolutely afraid about what the future holds. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important as leaders that we talk about our feelings. I think the pressure of COVID and the uncertainty can actually cause us, oftentimes I see this in a leader or manager, it often causes us just to get really logical.
Right.
But people are responding emotional before the logic. And so as leaders, we've got to be willing to say, hey, we're moving forward. The business is going to stay open. It may look a little different. I'm scared just like you are about what's going to happen next, but I'm confident that we've got a plan and we've got the right team to pull the plan off. And I think when we can talk about some of those feelings, it allows us to connect with our employees in a more fundamentally effective way. And so that's one way that I've been trying to help the teams be a little more touchy-feely, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I want to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Brian and maybe get some tips of what leadership should do and what professionals should do in this post-COVID world. So you're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
The windows on our homes, they protect us and the ones we love, but they do much more. At Renewal by Andersen, making your home more comfortable is at the center of every window we make. It's why we custom build our windows in America and install them in as little as 1 day. It's why we build our frames with exclusive FIBREX composite material that's 2 times stronger than vinyl. It's why our glass helps keep your home warmer in winter, cooler in summer, and quieter all year long. It's why we stand behind every window with a 20-year limited warranty. Why not help lower your energy costs while giving your home and family the best? Call 1-800-835-6525 to schedule a free in-home consultation. Buy one, get one at 40% off with this special offer. Plus, get special financing with no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 1 full year. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window. Call 1-800-835-6525 now.
Welcome back. We're talking to Brian White. He's a certified EOS implementer with Whitestone Solutions. Brian, thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Oh, this has been a blast. Love it.
Yeah, it's fun and really insightful. And, a lot of leaders, typically in business, and when I was growing up, and presumably, I think I'm probably older than you are, but maybe not. But presumably, when people were coming up, a lot of business owners are conservative, and you were talking about touchy-feely. And I think it's okay to get in touch with your emotions because we're emotional beings. And it's so easy for the business owner or the person running an organization to divorce themselves from that completely. Are you finding some challenges with getting people to get in touch with their emotions? I feel like I'm Oprah, but I'm not really Oprah. I'm Jeff Snyder. But I feel like it's one of those moments.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to go down this rabbit trail, but that's fine. I love it. Yes, in fact, I've been doing an exercise with the team. So if you think about an entrepreneurial business and their leadership team, one of the things I do with them is to work quarterly, right? So I get them in a quarterly rhythm. Well, man, this last quarter has been tough, absolutely tough. And so they can just be demoralized by the fact that all the things they planned to accomplish didn't happen. And they've lost sight of what they actually have accomplished. So I do an exercise with them called Need a Boost. And I just ask them to list in a column what are some key accomplishments that the leadership team has done over the last quarter? And I'll hear things like, we kept the doors open, we successfully got our PPP loan, we installed a new machine, we made a significant hire, whatever it is, key accomplishments. Second column is, what were the actual results of that? So things like, well, people had a paycheck, right? I mean, that's pretty important. Families, were continuing to not have to worry about going on unemployment or where they were going to, get their next meal. I've seen morale and loyalty increase, right, as a key result of what the leadership team did over the last quarter. And then the last one is I asked the emotional question, which is, why did it matter? Why did those things matter? And what I find is that the teams connect the emotion back to their core values. And I know core values have gotten to the point where they're almost trite in business world. Everybody talks about core values, but in a time like COVID or a pandemic, the pressure just solidifies what we're really made of. And so getting them to talk about the emotions and what they really value does two really important things. One is it's that therapy, right? It's really good therapy. But the second is it just kind of solidifies the resolve of the leadership team as they continue to make tough decisions. They need to bring it back to those values. They need to make sure as a leadership team, they're celebrating their wins. So, yes.
Really, really good advice. So, Brian, I want to get into a little bit more into another part of your wheelhouse, which is let's grow our business. And COVID's going to change a lot of things for a lot of people. I think we all acknowledge that. A lot of video, a lot of digital. I think there'll still be some face-to-face meetings, conferences eventually. But let's give some tips or things that you're thinking about this post-COVID world. So we're through all this. The anxiety starts to dissipate. We get back to, hopefully in the fall, some level of normalcy. What are some of the key takeaways, things to think about if you are a small business owner or a business owner in general?
Yeah, and this is going to sound overly simplistic, but sometimes the most simple is the most powerful. The team has got to decide who is their ideal customer post-COVID. Mm-hmm. Has it changed? Has the values or the beliefs or even the demographics changed for who their ideal customer is? And we have to get it into a succinct statement. My ideal customer is an entrepreneurial leadership team, 10 to 250 employees who are frustrated but want help. That's simple, right? You need to know exactly who they are, and then you need to decide what is the message that's most valuable to them. Because the way that we sold in the past may be different today. So I always recommend 3 uniques or 3 differentiators that you can explain to a leadership or to a potential customer what makes you valuable. So if you want to grow, you have to be on the same page with who is our ideal customer and what is it that makes us unique and valuable to them. That's the very first place you got to start.
I think a lot of people are going to be a lot of business leaders, a lot of organizational leaders, because it's not just businesses, it's not-for-profits, it's even governments. People need to rethink who their end user is, who their customer is, and then align themselves to better serve them. Brian, it's always a pleasure chatting with you. Amazing, amazing information. Look forward to speaking with you again and having you back on the program very soon.
I look forward to it too. Can I add one last thing, Jeff?
Sure.
Yeah, so one of the things that I teach my clients is that I'm moving them towards something called the EOS life. And this would be my hope for anybody watching this. If you want to live the EOS life, it's doing what you love with people you love, making a huge difference in the world, compensated appropriately for the value you bring, and time left over to pursue other passions. So thank you for letting me share, hopefully, some things that will help people move to their EOS life. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you ended the segment a hell of a lot better than I did. Brian White, always a pleasure talking with you. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, Jeff.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest or someone you think we should talk to? Drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the news in retirement markets, technology, personal finance, and more, check out today's edition of The Morning Pulse. So until tomorrow, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Attention! The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services has officially authorized new benefits that Medicare Advantage plans may include. To get the benefits you deserve, you can call the Medicare Coverage Helpline.
Hi, I'm Joe Namath. If you're on Medicare, this is important information. I called the Medicare Coverage Helpline and they instantly looked up my coverage. In this one simple call, they offered to enroll me in a plan that includes rides to medical appointments, private home aides, doctors and nurses' visits by telephone, and even home-delivered meals. The plan also includes dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage, all at no additional cost.
Don't delay. Call to see if the new benefits are available in your area.
Call the number on your screen now. It's free.
Call 1-800-757-1451. That's 1-800-757-1451.